The Oxford Dictionary defines language as a system of symbolic communication, either through speeches, writings, or signs. And in a country like India, home to over 1 billion people, hundreds of mother tongues, and a melting pot of cultures, language is far more than a tool for communication. Earlier this week, the Supreme Court of India reminded us of this reality. It made a powerful observation. Language is culture. It reflects people and communities, not religion. But what prompted the court to make this remark? And why is it important? Well, let's break it down. The case here was from Maharashtra. A former municipal councillor from Akola district had objected to the use of Urdu language alongside Marathi on the signboard of a local council. She argued that under the Maharashtra Local Authorities Act of 2022, only Marathi was permitted for official use. Well, what did the Supreme Court say? Well, it dismissed her petition and it called her argument a flawed understanding of both language and the law. In fact, it pointed out Urdu was used by the council because a large number of local residents understood the language. Well, here's how the court put it. The use of Urdu is merely communication. All the municipal council wanted to do was make effective communication. It's that simple at the end of the day. Because when local authorities speak the language of the people, will understand they're doing their job right. In fact, effective communication isn't about politics, it's about good governance. It's about ensuring every community feels seen and understood. But then there are wider implications to court's observation, and this part was crucial. The court went beyond the legal aspects of the signboard and made a very important observation. Language is not tied to religion. It said, and I quote, "Language does not even represent religion. It belongs to a community, to a region, to people, and not a religion," unquote. In fact, this directly challenges the widespread notion and mistake that Urdu is a language exclusive to Muslims. But in reality, Urdu is the 6th most spoken language in the country and is widely used across different states. But then the court had a lot more to say about Urdu. It described the language as the finest specimen of Ganga Yamuni Tehzeeb, a term from the Awadhi poetry literature that represents the blending of Hindu and Muslim cultures in northern and central India. And the judges also had this to say. Language is a yardstick to measure the civilizational march of a community and its people, and that eventually applies to Urdu as well. In fact, the court added, we must respect and rejoice in our diversity, including our many languages. And then the court didn't stop here, of course. It also addressed the prejudice against Urdu, explaining that it does not stem from fact, but rather from misconception. It reminded us Urdu, like Marathi or Hindi, is an Indo-Aryan language, born in India and not foreign to it. The court in fact highlighted that Urdu developed and flourished in India as people from diverse backgrounds sought a common language to just exchange ideas and communicate among themselves. So that point is very essential. And over centuries, Urdu developed, refined itself, becoming a language of choice for many acclaimed poets. The court pointed this out, and it said that Urdu isn't just some distant or unfamiliar tongue. In fact, it reminded us our everyday Hindi is filled with words from Urdu, whether we realize it or not. The bench had this specific point to say. It would not be incorrect to say that one cannot have a day-to-day conversation in Hindi without using Urdu or words derived from Urdu, unquote. As for the prejudices against the language, the court emphasized this point that such misconceptions must be courageously and truthfully tested against reality. In fact, it said language is a medium for exchange of ideas that brings people holding diverse views, beliefs closer. Language should not become a cause of their division. And with that, the court turned its gaze outward, from a signboard in Akola to a broader story of India's linguistic plurality. And the message from the bench was unambiguous. Our strength can never be a weakness. Let us make friends with Urdu and every language. Because here in India, language isn't about how we speak. It's who we are. It carries identity. It preserves our heritage. It resists erasure. In fact, a 2011 census recorded 122 major languages, 270 identifiable mother tongues, and around 19,000 languages or dialects are spoken across this nation. In India, we call this linguistic diversity. And yet, a mere signboard uses a language that challenges our biases, and it sparks discomfort and even outrage. Well, that says more about us than our languages ever could.